Animism is a worldview that recognizes the inseparability of all things. There is no distinction between man and animal, between society and nature, or between inanimate and animate objects. All things exist equally on a horizontal plane and possess their own soul. Animism gives a soul and will to mountains, rivers, rocks, trees, stones, the heavenly bodies, the earth and the sky. The sun, the planets, and the stars are living objects possessed of a soul. The earth is our great mother. The wind, lightning, mountains, and forests are all sentient beings. Trees have souls, feel pain, and even hold conversations. In short, the universe in an animist worldview is alive. And this worldview was widely disseminated through what Western authors described as primitive peoples, or those who continued to live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, and it was believed to reflect humanity's earliest stage of religious thought. The term was first coined by E.B. Tylor in the late 19th century, and despite the disparaging and often racist description of animism by academics in the secular West, animism, in my opinion, reflects a profound understanding of the nature of reality that is in many ways more consistent with what we know through contemporary science. One of the key characteristics to animism is the inseparability of all things. The categories in the Western mind that distinguish humans from everything else, and the society they created as something separate and distinct from so-called natural world, is absent in animist thought. So as one Western academic put it a century ago, quote, "The physical individuality of things is not observed. The fact that a thing was mine makes it appear as though there was something of me in it. The borders or limits of things are not marked out, but their influence and their capacity to be influenced extends, as it were, in a misty halo over everything connected with them in any fashion." In a word, primitive thought has not yet evolved those distinctions of substance and attribute, quality and relation, cause and effect, identity and difference, which are the common property of civilized thought. Unquote. These so-called distinctions, praised by the author as a sign of advanced thought, are actually inconsistent with what we know of reality through quantum physics. It is not a controversial statement to say that by quantum entanglement, all atoms are in some sense connected, and therefore the universe and all things within it are in fact inseparable. Distinctions are illusionary byproducts of the human mind's phenomenological attempt to interpret reality. Another Western author, and again, please forgive the closed-minded thinking, as these were men that were products of their time, identified animism this way, quote, "The quality of the savage man which perhaps most profoundly illuminates our subject is its hazy sense of personality, the difficulty it experiences in marking off itself from other selves, in other words, the absence of sharp dualism." Unquote. It is this sharp dualism between self and outer world that is increasingly being rejected as untenable. Matter is not a real thing made of tiny marble-like atoms. Rather, so-called particles are really the smallest possible vibration of a quantum field. The view of matter as solid is again the brain's attempt to interpret reality into something tangible. The so-called dualism between mind and matter is severely blurred by contemporary science. Perhaps it's time to reconsider animism and reconnect ourselves back into the reality we live in. This does not mean rejecting all the advancements of the modern world. Rather, it does mean a rejection of modernity. The distinction being we will have to abandon an old and destructive paradigm for a newer animistic one that may reintegrate the contemporary knowledge in a way that is more consistent and harmonious with nature and the spiritual reality of all life.